Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Kheios deck profile for post-Minerva Rising, one of the glitter decks that we got in the latest Cardfight Vanguard booster set. This deck focuses on having a bunch of different named cards in your soul, so with that setup of the deck, you want to run as many different cards as possible in the deck. That includes the trigger lineup, all your different grades 1s and 2s, and we have a new form of Makani, the backup glitter unit for Kheios, that helps by being able to count as a different name in your soul, even if you have multiples of the same unit in your soul to begin with. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, our starter is the grade 0, 1 with Profound Mercy Kheios. When wrote upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is in the Calm Streets Kheios. When it's wrote upon by a Quagmire of Solace Kheios, you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, put all normal units from them into your soul, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's a good way just to start building up the different named units from your deck into your soul, with the grade 2 being Quagmire of Solace Kheios. When wrote upon by Approaching Fangs Kheios, you soul charge 1, and if the soul charge card was a trigger unit, draw a card. If it was a normal unit, choose up to 1 card from your soul and call it to rearguard. So if you have a multiple card in your soul with the same name, you can at least call that out with this unit after riding on to your grade 3, which is Approaching Fang Kheios as the main go-to grade 3 for our Persona ride. We're also running 3 additional copies of this card as well. On the Vanguard Circle, once per turn, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose 1 card from among them, put it into your hand, and choose up to 1 unit card from among them and call it to rearguard, and put the rest into your soul. So then you have just options from the top cards of your deck going into the soul, setting up 1 in your hand and 1 on the field. So if you get a trigger unit, you have the soul buildup, the field, giving you more of an option if you get your glitter unit or another grade 2. And then if you have a sentinel with those cards revealed, you can add it into your hand. You have all these options available to you. And when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if your soul has 8 or more cards with different names, choose 1 of your rear guards. It gets plus 10,000 until end of turn. If your soul has 13 or more cards with different names, choose all your rear guards instead. This is the power move that you can also make use of with your main go-to grade 3 backup, which is the cool-headed Executor Mikani, your glitter unit in the deck. So we're running 4 copies of this card. When it's placed on rear, counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. Choose 1 of your opponent's rear guards in the same grade as the card soul blast for this cost and retire it. So you have a retire when placed on rear. And on rear guard, once per turn when your Vanguard attacks, if your soul has 8 or more cards with different names, stand this unit. If you stood this unit, put this unit into your soul at the end of turn. So this just sets it up so then you have the option to then call it back out later on using other cards in the deck. And also just with that setup, choosing 1 of your rear guards and giving it plus 10 thanks to your main go-to Vanguard. With that setup you use for the main play, being able to choose those cards that you call out, you have that setup and recycle to at least put Mikani back into the soul again. Moving on now to the grade 2s, I'm running 2 copies of Diverse Wildmaster Hunter Ratio. On rear, during your turn, if your soul has 8 or more cards with different card names, it gets boost and power plus 5,000. And from the rear guard in the guard circle, if your soul has 8 or more cards with different card names, it can intercept from the back row and get plus 5,000 shield. So you can have your Hunter Ratio be in the back row to provide boost for Mikani, to then have that additional power that it got from just having 8 or more cards in soul and having the different card names, being able to provide this additional boost to your main go-to attacker on the rear guard, which is Mikani, and then also just be able to intercept from the back row as well. Just 2 copies of this card though. I don't want to run too many of the same name, just because then you'll just find inconsistencies when you soul charge this card. For some of the other grade 2s that I run in the deck, I also run 1 copy of Selfish Engraver for the soul charge option, and then being able to put it into the soul to countercharge 1, making up some of our counterblasts. 1 copy of Indicate Arrow Dragon. When placed on rear, you reveal the top card of your deck. If there are no cards in your soul with the same name as that card revealed, you soul charge 1. More of a soul charge option, just with placing it on the rear guard. 1 of the new Enmity's Dragon. When it's put into the soul by a card's ability during your turn, if your Vanguard is a glitter, choose choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. Very easy for the Soul Charge buildup using this card and the plus 5,000 power to the Vanguard. And lastly, one copy of Amazing Frost. When placed on rear, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, choose a card from your hand, put it into your Soul. Then, if your Soul has 8 or more cards with different names, this unit gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. If it has 10 or more cards, it gets plus 10. Just more of an option to draw and then set up your Soul with other cards in your hand into your Soul with different names. Moving on now to the grade 1s. Ideally, I do want to run 4 copies of the new Go Ahead Makani. This is just another grade 1 backup option. I have an Amazement Magician and a Steam Mage Ashura as added backup spots to fill in, but you can just take those out once you get additional copies of Makani. With Go Ahead Makani, when it's placed on rear, you may Soul Charge 1. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, put this unit into your Soul. Choose up to 1 grade 3 card with Makani and its card name from your Soul and call it to rear guard. So this is your grade 1 answer to just being able to call out your original Makani back out onto the field. And with Glitter, with Kheios from the Soul, when you would count the number of different card names in your Soul for your card's ability, Go Ahead Makani in your Soul count as each a different card. So then if you have 4 Go Ahead Makanis in your Soul, they all count as different units. So they're not going to be the same. They'll each individually count as different cards in your Soul, which is very, very awesome for that setup. So even if you reveal, Makani and Soul Charge it, you'll still be counting it as a different unit and being able to set up your grade 3 Makani back onto the field again. And I also run 3 copies of Steam Maiden Barney. When this unit is placed on rear from hand, if your Soul has 8 or more cards with different names, Counterblast 1, choose a grade 1 or less card from your Soul and call it to rear guard. And if your Soul has 10 or more cards with different card names, choose a grade 4 or less card instead of a grade 1. Just another answer to call out Makani onto the field when placed from hand as an added backup to Go Ahead Makani. So you can at least have more grade 1 options if you were to Soul Charge all of your other grade 1s into the Soul with any of your other cards. For the rest of the grade 1s, there are Sentinel lineup. So I'm running 1 copy of Psychic Prima Miranda, 1 copy of Repelled Malice Dragon, 1 Recusal Hate Dragon, and 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude. So we all have different names for the Sentinels as well. If you have like Miranda in your name with your hand and you have to discard, obviously just discard for Miranda first and save either the Repelled Malice Dragon or the Recusal Hate Dragon in your hand to not have to pay the discard cost later on. Moving on now to our orders that we run in the deck, running 2 copies of 1 Who Governs Chaos. If you have a Vanguard with Kheios and its card name, play it with Counterblast to 1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to the same number of cards from among them as the number of cards in your Soul with Kheios and their different names. Put them into your Soul and shuffle your deck. Then if your Soul has 8 or more different cards, choose up to 1 card from your Soul, call it to rear. Choose one of your rear guards with Makani and its card name and it gets plus 10,000. It's a great, order to set up cards from your Soul. You most of the time just want to keep all the other, Kheios in your Soul. Even if you Persona Ride, that's 4 different names there to then utilize with your 1 Who Governs Chaos. And then just being able to call out to rear one of your Makanis and give it plus 10 is an added bonus. For the new order, we are also running 2 copies of Song of Extolment. Can be heard. You play this if you have a Vanguard with Kheios and its card name. Choose one of your Vanguards. It gets plus 10 till end of turn. Choose 3 normal units from your drop zone. Put them into your Soul and then put this card on the bottom of your deck. So more build up for your Soul while at least being able to place this card on the bottom of the deck to potentially reuse again. I also run 1 copy of Supernatural Extraction for the Soul Charge 3 and putting a card from our Soul into our hand. And lastly, 1 copy of Gradius Gradel because there is a chance that you'll Soul Charge a majority of your other Kheios that you run in the deck. So just having an option to go into a Persona Ride with an order makes it all the better. Moving on now to our trigger lineup for the criticals. 1 copy of Diablos Girls My, 1 Flinty Slasher, 1 Lively Breath Dragon, and 1 Stem Deviate Dragon. So we have 4 different named criticals to run in the deck. The same for the draw triggers. 1 Diablos Boys Jake, 1 Insane Researcher, 1 Vital Lever, and 1 copy of Rose Wildmaster Riley. And then for the front triggers, we're going rainbow with the lineup. 1 copy of Huckle Hustle, 1 copy of Diablos Officer Kilan, and 1 copy of Diablos Girls Natalia. I like to at least include 1 of each of the ability triggers for the additional shield and soul charge buildup, with the last lineup being our heals: 1 copy of Brilliant Floral Uania, 1 Direful Doll Alexandra, 1 Steam Scara Mai, and 1 copy of Diablos Girls Iriana, with our over trigger of choice being the Gamalgaheld for the additional critical power. But we are running 1 of each different criticals, so whatever we soul charge for all of the triggers, draws, fronts, or criticals, you'll at least have a different one in your soul with each trigger soul charged. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. Kheios is definitely an interesting deck to consider building for the glitter lineup, just with its playstyle definitely being very luck based on how your soul charges go, but it can be a very fun deck as well because of it. So as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.